Vroom, vroom. It's time to go racing again, and thanks for hanging out with us, NASCAR fans, racing fans. I'm, of course, Jason. He's, of course, William Blackwell, and this is, of course, the Highline Podcast. We'll, of course, look back at last week's race, and then we'll, of course, focus in on here the Goodyear 400 down there at Darlington, a racetrack that I've been to over the course of the year. So look forward to talking about this race, a unique racetrack. But before that, let's get William's opening thoughts. What's going on, man?
A lot of things are going on right now in the motorsports industry. You got Formula One coming over to the United States, which we will talk about in a minute. But NASCAR has one of their crown jewel races, one of the very few races they have a year, but it's considered a crown jewel. And this weekend is one of them at Darlington. And a lot of drivers want to add this win to their resume because a lot of people want to win at Darlington. It is not no easy task, and a lot of people would do anything to win here. So it's going to be very exciting to talk about.
All right, well, before we do that, let's, of course, start with looking back at last week's Drydene 400 where Chase Elliott was able to pull it into victory lane and get him a nice victory to start off his 2022 season. My opening thoughts on that race is a little bit of a slow start. I don't know if that was because of the rain delay. Maybe that broke it up and made it feel like of a slow start. But even on Monday, we were going back and forth there on the chat, just kind of slowly. But then once it got going, through the cautions and cars spinning and what have you, I thought it picked up a little bit. I thought the race was safe. I thought the first little bit was kind of boring, but hey, I was entertained through probably the last 150 or maybe 200 laps. What did you think about that one?
You nailed it. The first half of the race was not good at all. And it made me assume that, man, these cars can't pass. It's all going back to Martinsville. They got to make a change. But something just clicked after stage 2 ended. Yeah. And that's when the racing picked up. It surprised me because why weren't they making these type of moves early on? It was just very boring. And you can easily tell when you look at the final result, how good the racing was. It makes you think that at the beginning, they were just riding around and knocking out laps and just getting things done early so they can get home early because they were already there since Saturday. So why push it to late Monday night? So that also came into effect, I believe. If this were the 500, you would not have seen them type of moves going on where they're just riding around. No, but it's Dover. They will do them type of things. And that's why I think it was a little boring at first. But at the end, tire wear was the issue for a lot of teams. And we saw a lot of loose wheels come off. The 16 car, the 11 car, his tire actually about beat him off pit road.
Right, that did, right.
Yeah, but it was an interesting weekend for tires. And obviously NASCAR is going to take a look at it. And I believe they made some, a good decisions these last couple of days when it came to them tire fall-offs. The 16 car, obviously you got to suspend the crew chief there. But for the 11, they didn't suspend Chris Gabehart, the crew chief. They suspended the tire changer, which I believe is the right step to moving forward because I do not like your crew chief missing 4 weeks. And for an example, Bubba Wallace, he lost his crew chief after COTA. And he didn't really have the greatest results the last 4 weeks. But this past week, he was more competitive with his real crew chief. So that's why it's so valuable to have them on top of your box week in and week out. And I think Denny Hamlin's going to be all right moving forward.
Yeah. What would you rate that race? To me, like I said, still slow start. Still seeing a lot of cars just kind of spinning. Put it at maybe about a 6. Put it about maybe a 6, maybe a 7. It did pick up. I was entertained. Like I said, the last 100 laps or whatever. Maybe a 7. Maybe 7 high, but probably a 6. What do you think?
All right. I would give it about a 5.
5?
But I think it can easily – the ceiling for it had to have been around a 7. No higher than that. The first stage hurt it a lot, like honestly.
Yeah.
And I think what could have helped it out a little bit more, I know in the past NASCAR has been keen to – getting that PJ1 and sticky stuff that I put on the track, make another groove. This weekend would have been one of the greatest weekends to do it because the bottom lane was going. The top just needed a little bit more. And if you added that, man, the racing would have been good. But, yeah, I'm sure they'll look at it into next year when they come here. They already announced. And so let's add PJ1, and I think it will help out the racing product, but do not add it at every other track in the world. It's so bad at some places.
That being said, another thing this NASCAR needs to do, anywhere they go needs to have lights. I think it's unacceptable. If that rain tailed off and there was an opportunity to go ahead and get that in Sunday night, you got to have lights at these tracks. What are we talking about here? This is NASCAR. This is not like some little, mom and pop racing circuit. This is NASCAR, folks. You need lights. They need to do.
Yeah,
They need to cut into some of their revenue sharing and kick back some to these tracks so they can install some lights. Come on, what are we
exactly.
talking about here?
You're right about it. People do not want to go up on a Sunday morning to a race and have to figure out that, hey, it's raining, but the rain's going to stop at 5 o'clock. But there's no lights here, so you get to go home.
The lights.
It's a terrible feeling. And I believe strongly that every NASCAR track should have lights, especially playoff tracks. And right now in the playoffs, I think there's only like 1 or 2 tracks without lights. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But they got to get that going in the right direction. That is unacceptable because, like Talladega, that's in the playoffs. You can see a big change up there, but it can also see a lot of wrecks there, which can carry on over and get past sunset and have to call it for darkness. I do not like that. And I'm afraid we will see more issues like this moving forward unless NASCAR steps down and demands lights at every track. I know it's not going to be easy and affordable for some of these places, but, man, they got to do it. Imagine a Talladega night race. A Talladega night race would be phenomenal. I'm surprised they haven't thought about it before. And Dover will be a decent night race, but I think it always belongs in the day. But you always want to have a backup plan. So.
Yeah, unreal.
But there you go. Lights.
All right, again, it was Drydene 400. Chase Elliott was able to pull that thing into victory lane. Nice, strong showing there by the Toyotas. I thought they've had some opportunities earlier on in the season at some racetracks to kind of take advantage of and didn't think they had, but thought those Toyotas, had a nice showing. I only gave out 1 sports bet over this weekend. I gave out Austin Dillon over Kurt Busch. Was looking like I was dead in the water. Kurt Busch was killing him. And then the 45 had issues, got loose, had to, spun. I think Allmendinger, I believe, if I recall, that got into him. And then he hit the inside wall. So everybody who made that bet alongside me got a nice plus money cash. But anything else, or do you want to go ahead and look forward to Darlington now?
We got a new winner. There's only a couple of spots remaining, 6 spots, I believe. That was your 10th different winner. Only 6 spots left. You can only see we still got, I think it's like 16 races left in the regular season. You can't tell me there ain't going to be more than 6 winners. So someone's going to get bumped out, and it could be Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, or maybe even Denny Hamlin. So keep a close eye on that.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the Goodyear 400. It's the Darlington Raceway. This raceway, at least from my standpoint, we came out the name of this show here, the Highline Podcast. I kind of was thinking about this racetrack here because the Highline runs really, really good. Obviously, at Darlington, they call it you have to earn your stripes. You earn your stripes, but not necessarily something you want to do, as that means you're obviously scraping the wall there as you're going around. Also called Too Tough to Tame. Obviously, everybody knows that. I think this one needs a veteran driver. This track is really, really tricky. Even the tire wear at 2 different turn points of the track, it wears on your tire differently due to the pond that's just outside of the racetrack there. So needs a very, very veteran driver. Again, the high line will work. Some of that went into some of my thinking here. What are some of the other things you're looking for this weekend at Goodyear 400?
You nailed it. I think the veterans are going to be the ones that are succeeding in this weekend's race at Darlington. In these last couple of weeks with the next gen car, we have always seen the rookies being favored, or the younger drivers like Kyle Larson. He is still considered young. Let's see, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain. But this weekend, I believe you'll be like a Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, how to forget him, Eric Almirola maybe. So you cannot count out the old dogs, if you will, for this weekend's race at Darlington.
You know another one, and I'm going to throw his name out here just because he wasn't on the NBC Sports Predictor app or that Fox Bet Super 6 app, which, of course, we'll get to both of those here shortly. Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones. You'll talk about veteran driver. I like Eric Jones. He's got the 8th best average finish here. He does have a victory here at Darlington. Got a top 10 driver rating. Don't be surprised if Eric Jones has a good week. And I can't wait to see what these sports books, when they give us some matchups, if they give us Eric Jones pinned up against somebody, I think you could look at a very easy victory. So I've got my eye on Eric Jones this weekend when we're not talking about the guys that you're talking about. What?
Eric Jones, though, is a great pick because
Yeah.
Darlington's already a track that's tough to race at, let alone get told prior to that race in 2019, I believe it was. If you don't win this race, you're probably going to be out your ride next year. So win this and be safe. And he went on to win the race and make the playoffs, and he kept his ride for 2020 before he was eventually bumped out for Christopher Bell. But that's for a whole nother video. But Eric Jones did handle the pressure and did very well here. So could he do it again this year? Maybe. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, in terms of veteran drivers, and I touched on it obviously there. When you start looking at the history here of Darlington, it's all veterans up at the top. You start looking at that top 10, top 12, no young guns this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a tough track. Like I said, there's a reason why it's got these various nicknames: Earn Your Stripes, Too Tough to Tame. Again, literally the tire wear is different in 2 different turns. I mean, it's just different. So you need a good driver, good crew chief, somebody who's going to be able to manage that pit strategy. Look for some old guns. So look for some old guys. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and pull up now this NBC Sports Predictor app. This is, of course, where you can win $10,000. They give you 3 stages. You got to pick the driver to finish best amongst the stage, amongst those 4 guys. And then you got to round out a top 3 all season long. I've been giving away $25 as well, though. All you got to do is join the Winning Bets League. That league information is down in this video description if you need it, if you haven't joined already. Let's take a look and see who won last week. Looks like we had a 3-way tie with 55 points. What a really good showing by these 3 people. Unfortunately for them, because there was a 3+ more tie, we'll roll that $25 into this week. Well, if you guys remember, we rolled $25 into the previous week. This week's worth $75, folks. This week is worth $75 if you can go ahead and put your name on the top of that list. So we'll, of course, wish everybody good luck, and let's go ahead and jump into our picks this week. We've got a pick between stage 1, Bell, Byron, Cindric, and Wallace. I'm going to throw our picks up because I got another chuckle when you sent me yours. Ours are identical. So why don't you break down William Byron, and I'll just add on anything that maybe I need to.
William Byron in the past at Darlington has been phenomenal, but I'm picking him because not just because of his ability of driving real well on the NASCAR circuit here at Darlington, but because of his crew chief, Rudy Fugle. I think ever since last year when he came on board with the 24 crew, he has made a big difference. Him and Byron were connected early on in the truck series for Kyle Busch Motorsports in the 9 truck. Many years ago, they were very successful. Then they split it apart, and they found themselves together back in 2021. And since then, they have collected numerous wins, and I think he's going to carry a great setup this weekend in Darlington, and they're going to be fast early on in stage number 1.
I think they will too. Taught it really well. Was strong last year, 4th in the spring race, got top 10 in both of those. My only thing here to kind of ask you, I didn't think it was really much of a sweat to pick between these other guys, between Cindric, Bell, and Wallace. Maybe just to kind of help our viewers. You're with me. It was easy, Byron.
Yeah, it was way easy. The first 2 rounds were easy.
Yep, me too. Yeah, I thought Blaney was easy too. You guys picked between Blaney, Bowman, Kyle Busch, and Logano. Look, Blaney's top 10 in all 4 stages last season, finished 8th in the spring race. Been strong, obviously won stage 2 last week. I mean, the guy's just having a phenomenal season. I thought this was another easy one. Sounds like you did too. Why?
I did a process of elimination here. You looked at Ryan Blaney. He was competitive throughout the year early on in the first 2 stages, so I kept him around. And I looked at Alex Bowman. He is easily, without a doubt, the worst Hendrick driver of the team. And so I eliminated him. Then I looked at Kyle Busch. He's kind of riding high on momentum from the last 2 weeks. So I kept him around and eliminated Logano because last week, that surprised the hell out of me. He was not competitive at all. So you had it between Blaney and Kyle Busch. Blaney, if worst case scenario, Blaney doesn't win this group, he'll at least get second. He'll still get some points from him. So Ryan Blaney, without a doubt.
Kyle Busch almost was a victory yesterday on Monday on his birthday. I saw a tweet while I was watching that race saying he was undefeated on races on his birthday. And I almost live bet him to go ahead and get a victory, but I held off.
3-1.
3-1. 3-1 now. That's right. All right, and then the last stage, everybody can see we both took Kyle Larson, the 5 car right there, up against Chastain, Elliott, Hamlin, and Larson. Another one that, okay, I could have picked one of the 2 Hendrick guys, and that's who I had it between. But in the end, he was second in both of those races last season. Again, tricky track, needs a veteran. I think he's the best. He's the best racer. I mean, he's the best on any surface. I didn't think it was that difficult to pick Kyle Larson. What about for you?
It actually was very difficult because Denny Hamlin is either hit or miss this year. Yep. And this could have easily been the weekend they were hit and come out and dominate and lead laps.
Well, if it wasn't for the 51 getting into him, he would have been there.
Yeah, but he was still struggling on Monday. He shouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah.
But, yes, I had to decide between them 2, and I picked Kyle Larson. I think he's going to be more reliable here, so easily Kyle Larson all day.
All right, full card for you. Good. You got to pick a top 3. Run through that top 3 for us.
All right, here. I'm picking Truex to get the win here. He's a veteran driver. He's won here numerous times. So Martin Truex Jr. will get win number 1 of the 2022 campaign.
Remember, this was last season. I remember watching Radioactive as I watch it every week. This is the one where he dominated the spring race, and he was like, we just kicked their butt. And like straight up was like, we kicked their butt. Kicked their butt. Yeah, he dominated this race. I think it was the spring, if I recall, not the fall.
It was the spring. I did Kyle Larson.
Yeah, he dominated. Yeah, that was it. I love your pick right there. I went a little bit different. You got what now? I got Larson second.
Larson will finish second. And here's an interesting fact here. This would be his third race in a row at Darlington where he will finish runner-up. Remember last year, runner-up to Truex.
Mm-hmm.
In the fall, he tried to do the video game move and overdrive 3 and 4 and hit the wall and hopefully build up some momentum. And was right beside Hamlin at the start finish line, but kept Phil close to winning the race. So Larson will have to finish second once again. I know he hates finishing runner-up here at Darlington. He wants to get the win here. It's so big to add this win to your resume, and he wants to do it because he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. But it will make it look a lot better on your resume, a Darlington win. Third place will be Ryan Blaney. I'm not as confident in this third place pick as I am the first two drivers that had Truex and Larson, but we'll see about Blaney. He always does well early on in the race, but seems to fall apart at the end, so keep a close eye on that. But if any of these drivers are to wreck out, I would like to see Briscoe do good, but J.J. Yeley in the 15 car, because this weekend's throwback weekend, and for all the viewers out there that don't know, Clint Boyer was my favorite driver before he retired, and J.J. Yeley is running a Clint Boyer paint scheme, and how cool would it be to see a scheme Boyer ran and was never really good at do very well. So got a little bias going on there with this throwback weekend. So there you go. Truex to win, Larson second, and Blaney third.
All right, and for my top three, I've got a couple of your drivers in there. I did go ahead and put Kyle Larson in that victory lane. Think he can go ahead and bring it home P1. I put Tyler Reddick in second place. Look, if there's maybe a young gun that can go ahead and snatch up, a nice showing here in the top three, I just think it's Tyler Reddick just because of his high line ability. Guys just absolutely will dominate the high line at times. So I like putting Tyler Reddick up there. And then I'm with you, Martin Truex Jr. I mean, guys just loves this racetrack. Dominated it last spring. Absolutely in butt-kicking fashion, so expect him to be up there majority of the day, so put him in P3 to round out my top three. Let's go ahead now and jump it over to the Fox Bet Super 6 app. This is, of course, where it's now reduced down to $5,000, and if you haven't opened up this app yet, boy, is it a lot harder. Boy, would I mean a lot harder. I mean, like, thankfully our supporter on this show here, Kyle, went ahead and got his victory and won him a nice chunk of change because it's going to be really tough winning this one going forward, folks. But as always, make sure you're following us on Twitter. You can obviously modify your answers during the course of stage one, just before stage two starts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and give these people our picks. Looking at me, at least me personally, for the first time. So this will be off the cuff. Let's see what we got. Where's the pole sitter going to finish at the end of stage two? I say 5 to 6.
Let's see here. It's going to be.
I'm going 5 to 6.
I got fourth place. Fourth place, C.
How many cautions? Now, be careful with this question. They're changing this between number of cautions and number of laps under caution. Today, we're getting asked just number of cautions will there be by the end of stage two. You're, of course, guaranteed to get a competition comp, and then you'll get one at the end of stage one. When they say at the end of stage two, they're not counting the caution that then flies at the end of stage two, I'm assuming.
Are.
They are?
So, they are. That's how they've done it in the past.
Well, that's dirty. So nobody – that's dirty. Really? Oh, that's dirty.
I would think they'll wreck at least twice. So give me 5, which would be answer C. Which I think that'd be.
I think more. There's gonna be people earning their stripes early. Gonna get some of these. There's gonna get some of these guys slappies, as I like to call them, that just aren't very good. They're gonna earn their stripes early. Gonna bring out the caution. So you're saying we're guaranteed 3 because I count that 1 at the end of stage 2. I'm going 7. There's gonna be 4 more.
I'm hopefully wrong. I hope I am wrong. I really hope so, because if this race turns out to be like last week in the first half of the race where it's just green flag racing, people are going to easily tune away, because this weekend you got Formula One racing in Miami, a very spectacle race, racing around the Miami Dolphin Stadium. And to add things on top of it, the Mercedes car, I happen to be a Mercedes fan, but this weekend a lot of American fans are centered around being a Lewis Hamilton fan. And this year they have struggled, and this weekend they're adding a new package that hopefully help on the porpoising issues here. So people want to tune in and see if the Mercedes can go back to the domination they were once at. So NASCAR has to put on a show to prevent the fans from doing that. And I think if they added the right amount of cautions during the race, I think that would easily fix it up.
Good stuff right there. Which question 3 is, which of these drivers will have the most laps led at the end of stage 2? It's Blaney, Truex, Hamlin, Keselowski, Bowman, or nobody. I'd lock it in between Blaney or Truex. I'll go Truex.
I'm going with Ryan Blaney, which is answer number A. Like I said earlier, he's always good in the first 2 stages, but always falls apart in stage number 3. So give me Ryan Blaney for answer A.
All right, this is where the questions get tough, folks. Between Ford and Chevrolet, who's going to have more cars in the top 10? And then you got to give them the number as if it wasn't hard enough. So I think Chevy will have more cars in the top 10. I feel pretty confident saying that.
Let's see here. I got RYE Boys, Roush Yates Engines, which is the Ford Motorsports Group. And I think they'll have 4 cars inside the top 10. I believe Toyota will have a handful also, but Toyota was not a part of this equation. But I did believe that did help me narrow down which to decide with. But I think Ford is the right amount.
Actually, I'm going to change it and go tie. And I'm going 3. No, that would then put 4 Toyotas in there. There won't be 4 Toyotas. I think that there's going to be Larson, Elliott. There's going to be, I like Reddick to get up in there. I do like Reddick to get up in there. There'll be Byron, Larson, Elliott. So that's 4. Eric Jones, that's Chevy, so that'll be in there. He'll be 5. That's 5. I'm going 5. Shit, Eric Jones is going to be up in there. 5. Chevy and 5 for me. Which of these drivers will have the best finish at the end of stage 2, Larson or Elliott? Boy, this one's tough. Brutal tough. I'm going Larson. And then you got to pick where will he finish. He'll be 3rd. Larson will be 3rd for me.
I agreed with you there. I picked Kyle Larson either 1st or 2nd. Easily.
Same question here between Truex and Logano. It's Truex easy. I'm with you. Logano, what was that last week? And now you get Truex coming here where he whooped butt. And then this one's at the end of the race. So I'm going to put him at 1 or 2. I think Truex is going to be 1 or 2. I think it's easy. Easy.
I got the same exact pick.
Okay, cool. And as always, don't forget, guys, we can modify these things, obviously. So just make sure you're giving us both a follow on Twitter. Towards the end of stage 1, we'll tweet out any modifications and what have you. All right, good. There it is.
There's one thing I want to hit on before we get off air. And this weekend, like I said earlier, Formula One is in Miami. NASCAR's in Darlington. Formula One's on ABC. NASCAR's on FS1. Last year, if you would have had this type of situation, Formula One would easily outdo NASCAR. But this time around, I think NASCAR has grew this past year significantly with their viewership, and last Monday was a prime example. In years past, they have struggled to get 500,000 viewers on a Monday race, but this past Monday, they almost got 1 million, which is a big success. And I think that they carry over some of that momentum from Dover into Darlington. I know it's very hard to get very hyped about almost 1 million viewers for a race when you're averaging 4 million a race, but almost 1 million on a Monday in the middle of the day will work. But going into Darlington, it's a crown jewel race, so you will see your older fan base stay around and wanting to watch this race. And I think NASCAR can go toe-to-toe with F1. Definitely not in worldwide ratings, but definitely in the United States where it matters the most. And it's going to be very interesting to see next Tuesday morning when Adam Stern puts out the tweet who had more ratings, Formula One or NASCAR. Comment down below who you think will get more. I'm going with NASCAR here.
And shouldn't the F1 end like right around stage 2, maybe completion? So I mean, at least they'll get everybody at least for the ending, the final stage, if I recall on the timing, right? Isn't that how it should line up? Like it should end.
I would assume that would, but Miami is a new track, and whenever Formula One heads out to a new track, especially this type of track where it's a street circuit and the corners are very tight. I compared it into one of my videos as a Saudi Arabia 2.0 last year. There's no runoff areas. If there's a wreck, you're going to be waiting around for almost an hour and a half. So it can easily go longer than it expected. So you would hope for it to end a lot early so NASCAR can get the viewers from Formula One into their broadcast, which I think can happen here.
Right.
But if NASCAR's wrecking left and right, people are going to tune in and see them wrecks and see some controversial build up because of Formula One, things can get very boring every once in a while. You're talking about a snooze fest. You can easily fall asleep watching one of them races. But I got NASCAR getting up top on the top rope and coming down on Formula One and stealing their viewership this weekend. So there you go.
Love that right there, William. And love being back here in the Highline podcast. Obviously, we missed a couple episodes, couldn't quite get here with you guys. We apologize for that, but it feels good to be back on the Highline podcast, talking some racing and previewing this upcoming race. And we look forward to being back in here with you guys next week, where we'll do the exact same. We'll look back, we'll preview, and we'll give you our picks on these fantasy games. So enjoy Darlington, earn your stripes, and have a good one. Thanks, William. That was a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and good luck with your picks. If interested in placing real sports bets, then check out my latest daily free sports betting video in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next contest.